Something is changing that I don't want to have change, or something has changed and I'm afraid it's going to get worse. And as you start doing the inquiry, just notice what specifics are coming up. And those will be different for everybody. And notice how you feel in your body. What is the response to that energetically? What's going on in your body? And this is a very fertile ground for catastrophic thinking, for going to worst case scenarios, because of the fear that naturally comes up. We're losing something, we've lost something, a relationship is ending. And depending on the size of the shift, that can just feel like our whole world has changed. The rug has been ripped out from underneath our feet. And other times it's more gradual. We have a little bit more time to get used to it. But either way, big change creates a lot of fear. And it's so helpful to acknowledge that it creates fear, it creates worry about the future, there's sadness and grief. Let's take a moment to really tune into what's here. And this is a really good time to use tapping. As soon as the images come up, the intense ones at least, and really just kind of transfer your attention to the sound and sensation of your fingers tapping on your forehead. And when you're paying more attention to that, and that seems to be more upfront, then bring your hand down, take a few breaths. And let's give our mind a bit of time here. These kinds of situations and these kinds of thoughts are very intrusive anyway. So let's invite them forward and really take a look. Another great way to work with this is to put the images up on the wall or the words. Notice the space all around them. You can take your eyes around the space a few times, one direction and then the other. Or just notice this is an image, this is a set of words. What is it that comes up when you look directly and let the thoughts have some time? Try not to be judgmental about what comes up. It's natural for us to have fear, to have attachment, to want to avoid pain. What are the words and images, and what is the response in your body? Stay really anchored into the awareness, the mindfulness. None of these things are happening if it's future oriented. We're looking at what some of the fears are and we're feeling it in our body. We're noticing the space all around the image and words and around the fear sensation. And as you're finished tapping or tracing, or as the images or the words start to settle, and let them move way to the background and focus just on your body for a moment. Notice the sensations or the energy that's in your body. It's natural for there to be a response in our body to any kind of intense thoughts, and fear especially. Notice what it feels like in your body. And what descriptive words would you use? Is it hot or cold? Is it pulsing? Is it still? What's the location and the size? Is it through your whole body? Is it right in your navel center? Notice, like a scientist, how would you describe it to someone who was doing a study on your energy right now? And notice if you could welcome whatever is happening in your body. Welcome the energy, the response that you're having. And we all resist pain and contraction. We tighten up against it. So that would be something we could expect. And then as we're paying attention to it, tuning in and inviting it forward, notice if that feels okay. Sometimes we have a sense that this energy is here to hurt us. Sometimes there's a sense that it's just too much right now. And if that's what's going on, then we can pull back. Tap on your forehead, open your eyes, look around, put your hand on your heart. And when we're ready, we could invite this energy again. What is it that it's here for? What might it need from you? What's underneath the feeling of fear? And then let's give that some space, just like we did with the thoughts in the mind. And if thoughts are persistent, go back to tapping or tracing, and then come back to the more wordless experience in the body. I am afraid of, and this is how it feels in my body. And what is here alongside the fear, under the fear, however that might be working in your own system right now? What else is here too? And what is the strength that I bring to any situation that I'm in, including this one? It might be the the groundedness in our body, that we remember to feel the soles of our feet or the palms of our hands. We could bring to mind the sturdiness and the steadiness that we felt as we've moved through life many times, even through difficult things. And we're still here, and we're still doing a practice. And we're in no way minimizing whatever the challenges are. And at the same time, we're acknowledging our own strength and hardiness. Take some deep breaths. And then let's set this aside. Of course, it never stays completely set aside. If something big is going on, then it's going to intrude at times. Our intention for the next 5 minutes or so is to take a break from the activation of all of whatever it is that's going on. Go through the body very gently and softly, noticing rest. And a lot of fear has to do with what might happen in the future. So, in particular, if there's future oriented thoughts or fears, we're going to see if we could let them settle, take a backseat for a bit. One of the ways that we do that in our attention is to bring our attention to the back of our body. And even as you're doing that, notice if anything in your body needs to move or adjust. You need to shake something off. Sometimes it's helpful even just to flick things off the end of your fingers. And then reorient yourself. You could shake your arms, shake your legs. We're letting it physically move through our body and release. And then that allows us to settle back. Notice the awareness that's behind your eyes. And relax and soften through your forehead, your eyebrows. And let your vision be turned inward and at rest. The eyes softly gazing or closed. We can trust that our eyes will pop open if we need to see something. So relax your eyelids, corners of your eyes, the deep muscles of your eyes. And then notice the bottom half of your face, corners of your mouth, your tongue, your hinges of your jaw, your throat and vocal cords. Let that settle and come to stillness. Notice if there's any clenching or tightening up against. Often just by noticing, it softens a bit. And notice the sides and back of your neck, the large muscles at the top of your back. When we're bracing against an uncertain future, we often feel that contraction through the back of the neck and shoulders. Let your body be supported, however it is that you're positioned, especially if you've got support all through the whole back of your body. You could let that really soften. Notice the area between your shoulder blades. Notice the heart center. Notice the chest and the muscles that cover the rib cage. Let that whole top part of your chest settle back into the floor. We'll be more prepared to move back out into our life after the resting. And right now, we could actually just take a break. Remind ourselves, remind the mind and our body that it's okay. The next 5 minutes, we could rest. Notice the stomach area again, the energy and sensations of the chest and the stomach. Notice your lower belly. And then bring in your arms and hands, fingers, fingertips. Notice the palms of your hands. Your hips through your legs, front of your legs, the muscles of the thighs, and then settling back into the floor through the hamstrings, the muscles at the back of the legs, through the knees and the shins, softening through the calves, and through the tips of the toes and the toes, the top of your feet, the soles of your feet, the heels. We're resting, and we don't need to have any action in the hands and the feet right now. And as you're resting, take a moment to tune back into your resilience and strength. Even if we're not resting somehow perfectly, we've come and we're doing a practice. And we have some skill in this area now. We're not brand new to this anymore. We know how to rest. We notice sometimes we've stopped breathing, our breath has gotten very shallow, and then we can take some deep breaths and let that release and lighten up. And we have a commitment to watching what's happening in our mind so it doesn't get away on us. It's a very natural function of the primitive brain to create every possible fear scenario. And then we have kind of a delusion that if we work it all through in advance, that somehow it's not going to hurt as much. So, two things. One is that most of those will never happen. And the second is that even if it does happen, we can't experience it ahead of time. In fact, we just deplete our resources by imagining those things. So, the most effective tool is to stay present and to notice if we're going into that kind of thought, interrupt it. It never helps to go down that road. So, we can tap on it, we can trace, we can get up and do something to distract ourselves. There's so many ways that we can do that. And we have the capacity to do that. So we set that as our intention that we'll work in a skillful way with whatever our situation is. And that the foundation of that work will be kindness and compassion, presence, awareness. And as we work with that for ourselves, that naturally flows out to other people. And that we're really working with this. Other people are working with it too, perhaps. And we each have our own role, our own angle or perspective, our own work to do. And we have our work to do. And right now, our work is to be kind and compassionate and skillful and present. And that's enough. That's all we need. Notice your whole body again from head to toes. Notice the energy in your body. Notice your breath. And then when you're ready, open your eyes.